Welcome back to Miles and Mentors. Today's guest, you're going to know from the Logistics Lounge, and we're going to pick his brain for that lived and learned knowledge from what brought him to the industry and what he's learned along the way. So stick with us. We have a great episode lined up for you right after this on Miles and Mentors.
Welcome to Miles and Mentors, the podcast that humanizes trucking, getting real life advice and insights from logistics professionals from all over the industry. We sit down with those seasoned mentors who have put in the miles, with a mission to pass on the knowledge gained from years in the industry to you. Now buckle up and enjoy the show.
Hey, Pedro, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, brother, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Pedro Potato, I love it.
I'll tell you the story about how I got that name here in the show if you want me to.
Yeah, fantastic. Well,
Yeah,
I think we can find a great spot to do that. If you don't mind, for those that may not know you, shame on them. But for those that may not, give us a high level of just who you are and your role in the industry today.
well, my name is Robert Petersen. Everyone calls me Pedro Potato now, from the show that I host myself called the Logistics Lounge. But I got into logistics in 2006, 2007, something like
Okay.
that. Joined the military, became an 88 Mike, which is a motor transport operator, and did that for a few years. I got hurt, got med boarded, came out, and just naturally transitioned from being a driver in the Army to being a driver in civilian world. Didn't go to school. I took the test on my own. I literally rented a truck from a place in Dallas, passed my CDL test. And then I drove for 10 and a half years. I did a mix of OTR and regional, including working for places that deliver to like C stores and restaurants. While I was doing that, I pretty much what I felt maxed out on my pay. I was making almost six figures a year as a company driver. Figured, the next step to really get into the money I wanted to would be in the office. And naturally, as a driver, thought, oh, I can make all these changes and all these things are going to be different. So I put myself through school in a truck and got my degree in supply chain logistics management, along with a couple other certificates and a bunch of other stuff I have yet to use, but maybe one day. And man, I moved over into a couple of roles on the office side. Worked managing a huge crew of yard dogs at a Home Depot DC. I worked at the shipper level for a short amount of time. Even worked in the retail logistics side. Worked at Office Max, dealing with trucks and stuff there. So that didn't work out. I went back to driving and kind of just was done with driving and fell into brokering, man. During COVID, just like everyone else. Mine wasn't chasing the money type dream. It was just things were exploding, and I knew it would be a good chance for me to be able to come off the road and be making good money and set myself up and be comfortable and stuff. So, and did that, and did brokering for I don't know 3.5 years now, and somewhere along the way, me and my co-host with my show now had a random DM in July of 2023, and we're talking about doing a podcast just as a way to like reach out to shippers and maybe use the show to get them on and talk about stuff
Yeah.
and use that as an in to get in with their business. And now here we are, a year and a couple months into that as well, and everything's just going pretty swimmingly. So
That's awesome.
that's me in a nutshell, man. Me in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it. And a great point about the podcast. Like, I should do one of those. No, no, it's fun in today's world, though. We've talked about this on several different episodes, but especially for kind of that lane that we're taking with this, trying to kind of harness that lived and learned knowledge. Like, this is such a great opportunity to reach out to different people in the industry and kind of preserve that on all different levels, for gauging business, for making connections. I mean, having these conversations, virtual networking, if you will, I think makes all the difference. And it's exciting to see it really take such a stronghold in the industry. And I'm excited to see where it goes, from the networking aspect, but just, the knowledge aspect as well. I mean, you think from your guys' show, all the knowledge you've dropped to the other ones we've seen out there, that's all cataloged on the internet now. I mean, for someone coming in that really wants to learn and has some time to sit down and listen, like, there is so much value out there just waiting to be heard.
I wholeheartedly agree with that, man. And I'll tell you, dude. I'm 40 years old. You know, they call me a millennial, but I am a Gen Zer through and through, man. I really am. And I made fun of podcasters, bro. You know, I
Right.
never never thought I did this. I am all serious when I say this was totally a sales ploy as a
Oh,
broker.
sure.
Like really, really, it's all it was. And but the the network that we've built and the things that we've learned, and I say we because it's me included. I think if you're in
Yeah.
this industry, you should learn something every single day when you're in this. Is by far been the best thing of doing it. I mean,
Mm.
just today, man, just today alone, this is the power of the network of that we've made up with our show. Is I had a deal with a customer that needed a drop trailer, and just put a post on LinkedIn. And shout out to Christy Knichel from Knichel Logistics. Christy's a really good friend of mine. And she just took it upon herself to have someone on her team say, "Hey, can you see if you can find him a carrier to do this? Because we actually run this exact same lane for some stuff that we do." Like, sure enough, and she emailed me or DM me actually and said, "Hey, my brother's gonna call you. Like, we found your care for this." And I mean, sure damn enough, she did found me a freaking care. Like, didn't even ask her. Man. She just did that on her own. I mean, this lady's the CEO of a multi-million-dollar logistics company. She
Right.
took time out of her day to, put someone on something that she's gonna make $0 off of. Like, she gains nothing from this at all. So
Right.
it's amazing.
But there's value in that connection, right? And I think that's, what's so huge about is it gives us, especially in today's age where so many people kind of isolate themselves, you don't have as much of that face to face, and then digital gets weird. This is really, especially podcasting coming into the video aspect, I think is really just opened up a whole realm of new possibilities for the industry, for all industries.
Agree once more, man. These little podcast things here, man, or podcast, I guess is really what you want to call them. Talk shows. I don't know. I don't like the term podcast when it comes to these. I don't know. Podcast to me is just audible, but um they have really become like gathering in meeting places. It is some, most shows it's like this. It's one, two, maybe three or four people, and then there's other ones out there like our platform where we'll fill up our screen with folks, and it's people from all over, and it's just a way to hang out and get to meet and connect with people and
Yeah.
and learn stuff, dude. Like, I mean, that's the craziest thing. Every single show, I learn something from our guests, no matter what they do, whether they're a truck driver or a broker or they're a tech platform. And it's also cool to be able to, even though you're not meeting in real life, we all talk online. This gives us a way to at least put faces to names and voices
Right.
to pictures and stuff. And I think that stuff goes a long way in helping build these connections and relationships and stuff.
Most definitely, most definitely. And yeah, I love that aspect, man. With all the experience you got in the industry, you're still learning and putting emphasis into that. And that's just, if you're planning to make this a career and actually do something with it, you got to keep learning. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm good now." You're not. Everything's constantly evolving.
I agree. Well, the one of the first things I was ever taught in this industry was by my truck driving trainer's dad, Donnie Powell Sr. I'll never forget that guy. And it was, matter of fact, it was he taught me two things at once. He taught me how to float gears, and then he taught me this lesson. He said, "The day that you think that you know everything there is to know about being a driver is the day you need to quit." That was just being a driver, but I've carried that on to everything in logistics because it's so true. Like, you will never ever know everything there is to know about this industry. I don't care who you are, and I don't know who it is out there that says this, but they say it all. They're big on LinkedIn, and they always say there is no such thing as an expert in logistics because someone always knows something that you don't, and you cannot know everything there is to know in
Yeah,
in this. So yeah, it's always learning, man. Always learning.
100%. Well, to kind of take this back, I want to touch in on what brought you to the industry in the very first place. And I know you had mentioned kind of going through the military and getting into that, motor transport deal. What brought you to that though? What made you decide to take your military career in that direction?
To be honest with you, money.
There you go.
When I'm serious. When I originally went to join the military, I had a very good ASVAB score, a very good GT score. So I had my picket jobs. I was going to be a combat medic. Had this whole thing in my mind that I'd be a combat medic, learn stuff, get out, eventually become like a physician's assistant. Dude, I'm very monetarily driven. So I'm just like, what
Sure.
can I do to make the most money? You know what I mean? So but when I went to sign up, the recruiter, and mind you, this was the height of the war, you know what I mean, in Iraq and Afghanistan. And
Yeah.
recruiter said, hey, there's a like $10,000 or $15,000 bonus to be a combat medic, but they just maxed out the bonus to be an 88 mic. And I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And they're like, 40 grand. I was like, where do I sign?" Dude, I was I was a 22-year-old kid. Man, I had a wife and 3 kids. I had a GED. I had failed miserably after 2 semesters of college as an 18, 19-year-old. Only real skills I ever had was construction. And so, the military was it. So I thought I was just gonna spend my life there, and I had a whole plan mapped out, man. I was going to become a warrant officer and take that track, do my 20 years. I come from a very large military family. You can't see, but on the other side of my stuff here is awards from my grandfather from his time in the service. So,
Nice.
but I got hurt, got hurt in the military, and they put me out, and I was an 88 Mike. And again, at that time, height of the war, people get out of the military, companies were begging veterans to come work for them, especially if you were, any son of combat veteran. Like they were just, come on in. We don't care what experience you got. We'll train you. Just the fact
Right.
that, you served our country, we're going to give you a job and pay you ridiculous money to do it. And truck companies at that time were very, very heavy into recruiting drivers from the military.
Okay.
Unfortunately, to their own stupidity, because they didn't understand that all trucks in the army are all automatic. And back then, 2008, when I got into a truck, they were all sticks. Like automatic trucks was just not something you saw at all.
Right.
But I did that, man, and again, it was all money driven, dude. I got out of the military, and when you're exiting out, you go through a program where they talk about jobs you can do and money you can make, and people come in and talk to you. And truck companies were one of the ones that came in and talked to the logistics group of people, because they try to break you up per like your MOS thing. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
Right.
if you're in
Right.
logistics, we're gonna have US Foods coming here and talk to you. If you're an IT guy, we're gonna bring Apple, and they're gonna come talk to you guys. So they were talking about 60, 70 grand, man, back in the mid 2000s. That's killer money. So money driven, dude, money driven. And I maxed out very, very quickly in driving, because I had very good mentors. So when I got into driving, I knew where I wanted to be, which was home every night, doing some kind of local job. And for
Right.
people that don't know, I'm gonna tell you, in this industry, that's where the money is. If you are a company, I cannot say for owner operator, but the money is in that local stuff, man. Working for food delivery companies, places like McLean, Old Dominion. Like, man, I made way more money with that than I ever did OTR. So I had my plan, and I maxed my plan out in 5 years. Dude, by my fifth year, I was at $90,000. And that was 2013, 2014, fifth, sixth year. I was making 90 grand as a company driver. I
Nice.
mean, there are drivers out there that don't make that now.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
again, like I said, and when next thing is like, oh, what do I do? I talked to my transportation manager, and I found out, oh, he's making 110 grand a year. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's how I get to the next level. So, all of my thing, it sounds crazy, I say simple, but mainly monetarily driven. I do love this industry. I love it, but there's lots of money to be made in there. There's endless money to be made here. So there's endless ways to climb and find and make that money. It's the perfect industry for someone who is a motivated person, period, but especially if you're monetarily motivated, because there's money to be made all over this industry.
100%. So I'm curious, from the time that you came out of the military, you've had a really well-rounded career, impressive spots. What would you say your time in the military how has it impacted you? What lessons did it teach you that's really served you in your logistics career post-military?
Man, funny. Number one thing, always keep learning. Military, huge. They're huge on you as a soldier having more skills. They offer endless opportunities for you to learn things. Always keep learning. It taught me how to follow direction and take orders. Even though I may think I know better, it teaches you to shut up and listen.
Mm,
And to be honest with you, the two biggest things with me, honestly, are punctuality and organization. Those were my two biggest things in the military, and I'm still that way today. Like, dude, 15 minutes early is on time. You know what I mean? When you set a shipment up, I mean, everything needs to be perfect. Everyone needs to be informed, involved, what all the details are, all the paperwork. So those were my two biggest, the organization and the punctuality.
I can definitely see how that would, put you with a firm, solid foundation coming into the industry compared to, someone without that background.
Oh, yeah, man, and it served me it served me well as a driver, probably the best out of
Yeah.
everything I've done in the industry. Those 2 things served me best there, and it was because, man, I was always early to all of my appointments. Always. I was never late unless it was an act of God. I could not do it, and, I mean, I would drop 24 hours in advance if I could. Like, I did not play around when I was out there. It was about making money. I was at work. This was not time for me to have fun.
Yeah.
And I also, I wanted to perform well for the companies I work for because, you get raises with driving companies just like you do anyone else. They're performance based. And you
Yep.
had bonuses, your fuel mileage bonus and idle bonus. So, organization played into those things, this is the route I'm going to take. This is where I'm going to stop. These are what the temperatures are going to be like. So I should be planning to idle or not idle. Here's where I should do my fuel stops. What all those things. And I got myself a good name with all the companies, and I always bonused. I was always a top 5 driver every single place that I worked. I mean, for years after I left Night Refrigerated, they called me and were throwing money and bonuses at me to come back and work for them because I was one of the first 50 drivers hired when Night Refrigerated became Night Refrigerated. And,
Right.
most people don't know that story, but anyway, whatever.
Well, I love hearing about that. When you look at this industry, it's like they're coming into it, there's so much to know. And then there's kind of that level of there's so much to know, but then if you really want to excel at it, especially kind of in a career path, there's a whole nother level of stuff that you need to know to kind of optimize and do it better and do it more efficiently. And then, thinking about your different paths since then, you've had to go through a lot of different education points to really get to know all these different facets within the industry in an optimal level. Is there anyone along the way that you would consider a mentor in your path that's really impacted you in your career? And kind of what's your take on mentorship in general?
Yeah, man. So I've had several mentors throughout the different stages in my career, which I think is normal for anyone, especially as you move through different positions in your career and in life.
Yeah.
The first one, honestly, it was my trainer that trained me. He'd only been driving 3 years, but he came from a background with parents that had 40 years combined,
Mm.
and had another guy, his Scott Robertson. I wish I never lost contact with this guy, but I mean, when I went to Celadon and Celadon failed me on my driving test because I couldn't drive a stick, this guy like took me to a truck stop like 30 miles away and helped me pick up flyers and stuff to get hired on at another company. So those two guys, when I was doing the shipper side stuff, I had a friend that was my supervisor, and his name was Chris. Taught me a lot of stuff there, and here I am now. My mentor where I am now is my boss, Kyle Graves. Like, he's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And I don't mean intelligence is, someone who can do trigonometry, all these things. He's just a smart guy, the way his brain works and how he thinks about things.
Yeah.
Dude gave me a shot, and even today, I freaking learned something from this guy. Been working with him 3.5 years, and I'm still learning something from this guy. And I've been in the industry longer. He's just been brokering longer than me. So, he's teaching me amazing things. So, and I think mentors are important. And like I said at the beginning of this part is, I think you should have different mentors throughout the stages in your career. Not that you may not get lucky and find one that can follow you all the way through it and stuff, but
Yeah.
like me, for example, the mentors I had when I was a driver do me zero good when I got out of the truck and was
Right.
in charge of drivers. And same thing, like the drivers, and then my buddy Chris Palmer, like they would help me nothing in brokering because none of them had anything to do with this, So,
Yeah.
it is important though to have someone you can go to ask questions about stuff. And I wouldn't even say just one person. I think a network of mentors is even a more powerful thing. A group of a few people who even themselves are at different stages of their career, could be really helpful because if I'm in this at 20 years and I'm trying to help you as a newbie, you know, the things I may be teaching you may not work for you right now in your stage of career because I'm thinking leaps and bounds. It was 20
Right.
years ago since I've been in the position you've been in. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's important, and I think you should always try to find new ones. Never leave the old ones, but bring new people into your circle. They can teach you new things.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's such an amazing point because I mean, just like yourself, right? Like there's only so much you can learn at one time and the different stages that you go, everyone else is that same way. As you adjust and move in your career, you're going to need different things. But I think, kind of touching back to podcasts and everything else, I mean, there's so many opportunities for that because I mean, we think about it or not, but how many people out there are you indirectly mentoring from the episodes that you put out and the knowledge that you're speaking, people that you've never talked to or had that connection with, but they consider you a straight mentor because they learn so much from you. I mean, there's guys out there in your path that maybe they are in the same way, have no idea you consider them a mentor. They don't see it as a mentoring relationship, but if it's someone that, adds that value and helps you dictate your path, that's what we got to look for.
I'm with you, man, and I'm very fortunate that I have a very good network of
Yeah.
mentors, just like I just talked about. And to be honest with you, LinkedIn is what really started that for me. But the me doing my own show like strengthened those bonds. I mean, and just off the top of my head, I mean, and these are people that if you've not talked to or have not thought about bringing on your show would be fantastic, Alex. But people like Bill Robinson. I mean, that guy is. I mean, he's word of God. Like that, what that guy says, you can take that check to the bank and it ain't gonna bounce, buddy. Jeff Dickinson, John Brewer. Dell Prax. I mean, like there's Christy Knitchell. I mentioned earlier, she's been in logistics her entire life. Like literally, she grew up in logistics. So, and I get to talk to these people and ask them questions, and they give me, advice unsolicited, and I like that. That's good to have people in your life that are from several different parts of the industry and at different stages in their careers for you to go to, man. And again, they may not know they're my mentor. We're just friends, but I learned so much from them, and I like having people with that type of experience to go to and ask questions, man, because
Yeah.
I've been doing this 20 years, but again, I don't know everything. I mean, you can't know everything. So and the way my brain thinks is not the way yours thinks, Alex, or my boss, or Bill Rob, any of these other people. So it's good to have folks to bounce stuff off of.
That's fantastic points, man. And to your point of not knowing everything, that's what tomorrow is for, right? If we don't learn something every day, what are we even doing here?
I agree with that. I'll give you another one. My dad used to say this to me, man, is what good is having wisdom, but we'll change it, say what good is having knowledge or knowing something if you don't share it, you know? You can
Yeah.
know everything in the world, but what it's only doing you any good. Only you. You have to share these things and get them out. And sometimes even unsolicited, sometimes people don't know they need to hear it.
Yeah, there's truth to that for sure. You mentioned LinkedIn there, and I've talked about this on a couple different episodes, but that's a lesson I'm learning hardcore right now. LinkedIn is definitely a platform that I slept on for so long because any kind of social media base, I always looked at it on a personal level, and I kind of failed to look at it on a career based level. And really, I mean, this show is what forced me back into LinkedIn. And it's like it was one of those funny things because I'd created a profile so long ago, I couldn't even get logged in, so I had to send them my driver's license and all that jazz just to even get in. And it's been an eye opener, career based wise. Just the people, like yourself that I've been able to connect with for the purpose of the show. It's like, damn it, why was I not doing this, 5, 10 years ago? Think about, where I might be now, just making those connections and having those conversations that come from that. So much value there. And I kind of feel like, a lot of times guys in positions like drivers don't look at LinkedIn because they don't feel like it meshes enough. But I honestly think it does because, like the purpose of the show, kind of getting to know all those different facets of the industry. If you're going to go beyond, even if you're going to stay as a company driver, but if you're going on past that and going to be an owner operator, grow a fleet, et cetera, you're going to need to have those connections. You're going to need to know those people. And more than that, you're going to need to have that firm understanding of how it all interlinks. Like, what does this person do and how does it impact me? And understand that, 100 times over throughout the industry. And a place like LinkedIn is just, ground zero for that, to be able to establish those connections, grow those connections, have those conversations, and actually have your name out there to know some people.
Again, I agree with you, brother. I so agree with you. Dude, I don't know. I opened up a LinkedIn. Matter of fact, funny. I think when I was going through the exit thing in the military,
Yeah.
part of it was for you to set up a LinkedIn,
Okay.
and start your thing. So I believe that's my first, but I kind of dabbled in it. The same thing with you. I missed out on it. It wasn't until I was a broker and I was on there, just really trying to find shippers and learn some stuff that, man, it is so powerful. And for drivers, it is such a miss for them. And they all need to, well, I would say they all, I wouldn't say they all, if they really want to like further their business and themselves, they need to be on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And it is a powerful place. They talk about where do you find direct shippers and stuff. Well, like that is where, you know what I mean? And no, they're not popping up, oh, I need this load, move this to that, but like they still post. They may not post about the loads they're moving, but they're posting things on there. And as
Yeah.
you interact with them, you learn about them and their business, and you get stuff from that, and eventually you can approach them or someone like them and understand the things that they're looking for,
Yeah.
or even brokers, like being able to get on there and uh connect with a broker and stuff on LinkedIn versus like Facebook or calling in. I don't know what it is, but the connection with carriers that I've made that I work with on there are just really solid. I mean,
Right.
better than ones that I've made through calls and emails and all that stuff. So they really should be on there. They could learn a lot from it. And I think LinkedIn, if you're a professional, period, and you're not on there in whatever space that your industry that you're in, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And I'll tell you,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, people also have a misconception. That place, man, it is about a 50-50 business personal as you can get on there. I'm telling you, I'm at the point
Yeah.
now. It's my primary social media. Like I'm serious. It is like the first social media I want to look at when I look at something in the day. And most of my stuff on there has become personal because that's another thing is these people that do business with you, they want to see that stuff from you. And I'm telling you, I have gotten more interactions and connections from making a post about me and my wife doing axe throwing like 6 months ago. Dude, it was crazy. It's
Right.
crazy. So yeah, LinkedIn is a powerful, powerful thing. That thing today, I told you with Christy Knichel, I made a post on LinkedIn, dude, and had hundreds of views. And off that one post, something I really honestly did not think I was going to be able to get done, got done.
That's fantastic. I love that. So some fantastic points there. And, one thing that I'm kind of thinking of, because, I'm in this process that while I had a LinkedIn before, I never used it. I've been, really in depth on other platforms. And now I'm, really embracing and learning as I go, because I'm not in that, full swing like everyone else is. But I would say, and I want to get your opinion on this too, a truck driver that jumps on LinkedIn thinks, maybe this isn't the place for me, but hey, Alex and Pedro just said I need to be on there. Let me go make my account. Having an account alone isn't going to get you anywhere. Those random little posts aren't really going to get you anywhere because you don't have that network. You got to build that network. And at least in my opinion, again, I'll get your take on this, but my opinion would be get out there to other posts, to other conversations, and partake. Put your 2 cents in or ask questions. If you don't feel knowledgeable, ask why someone said something. But starting those conversations and getting involved out there, I think is where is really going to be that crossroads for you to start gaining those connections and get in that convo.
Yes, with you on that. And here would be my first advice is, whoever brings you on LinkedIn, if someone, me or Alex, for example, I would say, hey, who do you think I should connect with? Send me a list of 10 or 20 people who you think
I love
I
that.
should connect with. And then from that, you connect with those people. And here's a cool thing I like about LinkedIn that I wish other platforms would do is when you send a request, it allows you to send like, well, Alex, like 250 characters, a little note. And on there say, hey,
Yeah.
Alex told me to connect with you. Could you recommend some people I could connect? I'm new to LinkedIn. I'm telling you, will grow your network so fast. And that sounds so stupid. Here's the difference with LinkedIn between all these other social media places is it is still not toxic and it's not perverted. And I don't mean that in the bad way. And I mean it or the other way. I mean it in the way of it's not nasty. People on there are still nice and accepting of people. And when you request them, they see it as, hey, this is a possible business deal. And they take those things pretty seriously, and so that's what I would do. And as far as posts, if I was a driver, I would the things I like seeing the most from drivers, and there's a guy in here, he's a heavy haul guy. His name is Gary Johnson. He posts the loads he does. Now, he doesn't just take a picture of, he does heavy haul, so it's always cool looking stuff, but
Yeah.
it's just not a picture of size like, hey, look, like he puts a little work into it, takes cool little angles or whatever, but he posts them, he gets crazy comments and likes and stuff from those things. And I mean, and he
Right.
gets business from LinkedIn from that. So that's what you carriers should do. Be on there, like post your loads and stuff on there, and it'll get in people's feeds and people
Yeah.
interact. Brokers will interact, shippers will interact, do informational stuff. And basically, here's what I do all the stuff that you want that you do for your business on Facebook and X and all these other places, just add LinkedIn to your mix. That's what you
Yeah.
do. Just add LinkedIn to your mix. But forewarning, LinkedIn again it is a good place. Don't bring your trashy trash over there. None of us like it. Alex, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime I see anyone bring negativity, like people shut that stuff down. That's what I
Oh,
love
sure.
about LinkedIn, man. I love
Yep.
that about LinkedIn.
There's 2 points there that you made that I think are just beyond this. They're just huge. One of those, take it back just a little bit. You've touched on it twice. One, how you said kind of a lot of your posts now are going personal. And then the fact of, when you reach out to somebody, you can drop that little note and it might seem stupid, but it makes the world of difference. And I think where this might stand out to somebody, getting started in trucking is to think back how trucking and so many other businesses used to be really grassroots and now everything's kind of corporate. At the end of the day, it's still grassroots. And that's the awesome thing about this is it kind of gets back to that primal aspect of it that getting to know you as a person and respect you as a person is going to go a lot farther. And seeing those personal posts and hearing about your kids and knowing that you're a real person and not just BSing for a post goes a long way. It's going to make somebody think about you that much more. And then that the other aspect about the guy posting his hauls kind of plays into that same thing. But then when you're talking about that maybe turning into business down the road, I mean, you look at a modern day resume, if you will, and how, 90% of it's just BS all the time. People are looking exactly what you want to hear and trying to write it. What better proof than showing people what you actually do? And then those people that matter down the road remember seeing you do that stuff all these years. It's going to stand out that much more. So I think, man, both of those are just fantastic points.
I appreciate it, man. And you know, the saying it's an old saying, but it still stands today, man. People do business with people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yep.
and I know, like, oh, when I go to 7-Eleven, I don't go to 7-Eleven because me and the owner are friends. No, no, no. That's transactional stuff. Like
Yep.
those are transactions in life that you do with your money. I'm talking about real business. You do business with people you like. Yeah, maybe the price may have started out, you know what I mean? But the relationship that you build with that is what's going to grow the business and solidify to make it a long-term thing.
Yeah.
because like you said, people want to know who you are. They want to know, oh, well, hey, me and Pedro got this in common, or Alex and I, we have this in common, or both of our wives drive the same car, whatever it is, like it adds that personal level, and it makes a person connect to you beyond just the business
Yeah.
transaction that you're doing. And that load thing you talked about, the resume, I love how you put that, that it's kind of like a resume. And it's funny you say that. There is a guy on X, we're trying to get him on LinkedIn because he actually became a carrier because of the broker carrier summit.
Oh, really?
And yes, his name on X, I believe, is Millennial Trucker.
Okay.
He is posting every single load that he does. He's at up to, I don't know, whatever it is, 200 and something or whatever now. I don't know, but like every single load he does, he takes a picture of it and he says load 200 and whatever, and he puts, from
I
here to
think I've
there.
seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dude, and it seems stupid, but he gets good reactions from it, and, like,
Right.
other drivers ask about the freight, and, like, people like me as a broker be like, "Oh, like, that's pretty cool," and, so it's kinda like a resume, you know what I mean, and he's at the same time showing, possible customers for him, be it shippers or brokers, "Hey, this is my craft, this is what I do, this is at the level that I do it at," so forth and so on, so, it gives at the same time a personal sense to it too. You know what I mean? Like you're seeing it from this guy's perspective as a driver, what he's out there doing for us, for the country, and what he could be doing for you, Mr. Shipper, or for you, Mr. Broker. You know what I mean? So
No
it
doubt.
half this stuff is a mental game. I've learned it, man. Like it is half of all of this is a psychological game, dude. It is how people they buy with their mind in two ways. The thought process of, is this financially sound and a good decision for my pocket, and do I like this? Does it make me also feel good at the same time? Think about anything you do, even as a broker. When you're a broker, the best transactions are the one when you make good money. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it is people, they buy two ways, man.
Definitely. Well, man, you have proven to be another one of those mentors that I'm gonna have to drag back on the show again because I feel like we could go 4 hours and just, scratch the
Oh
surface
yeah.
here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, if
100%.
you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna hit you up again. We'll get
Yeah.
you back on here. But within that, everything that we've touched on today, anything you think important, to kind of fill in advice for the new guys?
I would just say if if you're a driver, if you're a company driver, just just keep the door closed. Just that's it. Just keep that driver door closed, and not every load is going to be a winner. There's going to be some losers, but just keep going at it. If you're an owner operator, hey, same thing. Best advice I give you: figure out your cost per mile. Everybody else, just keep at it. And I guess my advice to anyone is career wise, and take this for what you want. I'm really a nobody, but would just be learn something every day and find yourself a good group of mentors. I mean, that really goes a long way. A good network, and make sure you learn something every single day. And try not to say no. That's something I've learned too, man. Like I don't know, there's a book out there, and it's something like try not don't say no or something, but
Yeah,
it's basically like saying, "Hey, try new things. Get outside your comfort zone." Something you may say no to, maybe say yes to it this time. So, try not to always say no.
I love that. I love that. And you've got one other thing that you said that's just buzzing in my head, and I'm gonna have to put it into my regular routine now. You mentioned everyone you talk to, everyone you connect with, ask them 10 to 20 people you think or they think that you should connect with. I think there's
Yeah.
so much value in that. So much. So that's gonna be in my regular rounds now because of you, man. So thank you for that tidbit.
I appreciate it, man. I wish I could remember who gave me that advice, but it did me pretty well on LinkedIn at least.
For sure. Well, before we let you go today, man, I want to give you some time to do some shameless plugs here. Tell us about the show, your business. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. So first we'll plug my show, Pedro Potato, the Logistics Lounge. You can find us pretty much on every social media site, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Instagram. We're now on Spotify, YouTube, all that. Our website is logisticsloungeshow.com. You can go there, and all our social are on there. You can also get one of these sick only freight hats. Also, while you're also there, make sure you check out our homies page. We have a group of people on there that are friends of ours, connections we made. We support their business. We make nothing from it, but they all have discount codes, things from coffee to truck parking to truck products. So make sure you check that out as well. And me, Robert Petersen, you can reach me at Pedro at gosynergyfreight.com. If you're in the business looking for someone to help you out, move some freight or take care of some logistical matters, please give me a call. Absolutely love solving problems and love helping people grow their business, just like you're going to help me grow mine. So hit me up.
Fantastic. I love it, man. Well, hey, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Let's take some little time out of your day today to pick your brain and just for everything you've taught us. I've learned a ton today.
No, man, I appreciate you inviting me, Alex. We're gonna have to have you come on on our show as well, man. We'll
Hey,
make that happen, dude. Love to have you
I
on.
would love to. Sounds like a
Great
plan.
connect. Thank
Well,
you for having
thanks again, man. Tell the family hello. And for
I
everyone
will.
out there watching, till next time, stay safe out there. Thanks, everybody.